Hello everyone, I'm David from ProWarm and we're on site today installing our new V2 sticky mat. Along with our mat, we were supplied with some primer, a roller to apply said primer to the subfloor, a roll of duct tape to secure any bits of loose cable if we have to adjust the mat, and a conduit for our floor probe. Inside our box, we've got our new V2 sticky mat, and we've also got a Ziploc bag which contains two things. Our warranty and commissioning record, which we're going to fill out as we go along, and our installation instructions. First thing we're going to do is we're going to find the mat size that we've got, which just happens to be 2 square meters, 150 watt. So we'll find this page in our installation manual, and we're going to find our mat and find the resistance. There should be 176.3 ohms, and before we do anything we're going to check that the mat's okay. To do that we're going to use our multimeter. Just going to set that in there for now while we get the mat's cold tail out. So as we're looking for 176.3 ohms, we've got a 10% tolerance on that as well. We are now going to set our multimeter to the 200 ohms setting down here on the resistance, and we're now going to clamp these on to our neutral and our live. And as you can see, we are within 10% of the stated value, which means that we are okay to fit this mat. Whenever you get electric underfloor heating from ProWarm, make sure that you complete the warranty form that comes in the box with the electric underfloor heating, specifically this section down here that relates to your resistance readings. The next thing we're going to do is install our insulation boards. These are ProWarm Backer Pro. They're a 6mm cement coated insulation board. Insulation being the extruded polystyrene that you can see here in the core. To stick these down, we've got a chemical fixing in the way of tile adhesive by Ultra Tile Fix ProFlex SP. We're going to use a highly flexible adhesive because we're working on top of a timber subfloor. We've also got screws and washers. We're going to add these in every 300 as a mechanical fixing, just to supplement the tile adhesive, just to make sure we don't get any movement that later on could crack our tiles. And we've also got our primer here that we are now going to apply to the subfloor. We'll wait for that to dry, and then we can mix up our adhesive and stick our boards down. As you can see, all the boards are down now. We've fixed with tile adhesive, we've put our screws and washers in, and we've laid the boards in a brick bond fashion. The reason why we've done that is just for overall stability of the floor. We have no continuous joints that run the whole way through, and that makes the floor a lot more solid, ready for our final floor covering. So as you can see, we've got a drawing here that shows the sanitary ware that's going to be going into this particular bathroom. We know that the toilet is wall mounted, so it's not going to sit on the floor, so we don't need to worry about that. But what we do need to worry about is this vanity unit. So you can see this stud work here. The vanity unit protrudes by 380 mil. So what we've done is we've put a bit of duct tape on the floor, and we've set that at 380 plus a little bit. We've actually set it to 410. So that's going to give us about 30 mil on top of what we need to allow for, just to make sure that no cable ends up underneath any fixed units, because that is a big no-no. The next bit now is to apply our primer, let that dry, and then we can start laying our electric underfloor heating. The V2 sticky mat comes with a lot of improved features, but the big three are, we've now got a longer cold tail, which is now 3 meters instead of 2. We've got a new and improved cold tail joint. This is now thinner and much more durable. And we've also got an improved contact adhesive on the sticky mat to make the mat more sticky and stick itself down better. We're going to start by feeding our cold tail through into our back box. This is where our thermostat's going to be positioned. It's a single gang back box, 35 mil deep. We're just going to pull the slack through that we don't need, and we can trim this down later, but we're just going to get it out of the way for now so that we can start installing our sticky mat. So as you can see, we fed our slack through to the back box. We've now pre-cut a trench because we need to put our cold tail joint in there, and that's to make sure that it ends up fully embedded in the adhesive or leveling compound. In this case, it's going to be leveling compound. So we're just going to secure our first section of the mat. We've provisionally marked another position of where our floor probe and our conduit's going to go, but we're just going to wait to cut that groove out as well, just to make sure that we're 100% happy with the layout of the mat, and then we can cut this in afterwards and put our floor probe right in the middle of 2 of the heating elements so that it picks up a nice reading of what the accurate ambient temperature is. We're going to roll our mat out, and then once we get to the end, remember we've got our duct tape which marks the position of the vanity unit, so we're going to need to cut our cable at the last complete run just before this, which is going to be here. Now remember, we're cutting the mesh, not the cable. So we're just going to use our thumb to move that out the way. Cut our sticky back in. And we're going to rotate the mat through 180 degrees. Secure the second run. And then we're going to come back on ourselves. And as we get to the end, just to make sure we don't cut the wire, we're going to move it out the way. Press this down. And then we're going to come back on ourselves until we've finished installing the mat. So the mat's completely unrolled now. You see we've got this black bit on the end. That is the end joint or termination joint. This, as with the cold tail, needs to be fully embedded in tile adhesive or leveling compounds. We're going to make sure that when we do our leveling compound, we fully cover this bit in particular. And with that said, we're about ready to cut the trench and install our floor probe in our conduit. So as you can see, we've channeled a groove into the board for our conduit, and we are now going to feed our floor probe through the conduit. But before we do, we're going to talk about a little bit about the floor probe, what it is and why you need one. So this room is a bathroom, so you can't have anything that's 230 volts inside the room. Underfloor heating electric is 230 volts, and so is the thermostat. So the thermostat's going to go on the outside of the room, as we've already seen by the position of the back box from earlier. We're going to put the probe through this and feed this through to our thermostat on the other side, and what that's going to do is it's going to essentially allow you to measure the temperature in here from out there. So as you can see, we're now going to feed the probe down the tube. Might need to straighten this out a little bit just to allow it to pass through. And there is our probe poking out the other end. And what we're going to do is to stop this from getting covered in our leveling compound is we're actually just going to take a bit of our duct tape and we are going to cap off the end here so that none of that stuff can get in there, and then we're going to put it back. Doing this will allow us to, if we ever have any damage occur to the probe, we can pull it out and drop a new one down the tube without having to smash any of the floor tiles up. What we're going to do now is the probe's in position, and we've got our conduit and our floor probe cable. So we're just going to pass this through up to the thermostat on the other side. Our mat's installed now. We are going to get ready to put down our leveling compound. We're going to use the Ultra Tile Pro Level Ultimate. It's a very good, high quality, high flow leveling compound, fairly new product from Ultra. First time using it, so I'm pretty excited to see how it goes. Yeah, with that, let's get cracking. We've put our leveling compound down now. Now we've just got one thing left to do, which is do our final resistance check, and we're also going to check and record the resistance of our floor sensor. So as from before, we had 182 ohms when we first did our test. Just going to set this to the right range. We're already on our live and neutral, and we're now at around about 175. So I'm going to put 175.2, which is where it just decided to settle, and that is well within tolerance of what we should have, which should be 171 on this particular mat. So I'm just going to switch that off for a sec. I'm now going to disconnect from our underfloor heating mat. We're going to take the two connections on our floor sensor. I'm going to clip these onto our tester. Now the resistance on this should be really, really high. It's anywhere between 8 and 20,000 ohms. So we're going to set it to the 20k setting. And we've got 8,780. With our forms filled in, our leveling compound is down and it's drying out as we speak. That completes our installation video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. And for further information, see links in the description.